Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Steven and I am a first year dental student. As I sit here and film this video, I am now officially over 3 months into my first year and first semester of dental school. And in this short period of time, I've learned a couple of things about the entire experience of being in dental school, what it's like, and some valuable insights that I felt I should share with all of you. So if you just got into dental school or you're looking at dental school and considering applying, maybe this video is for you. These are just 5 things that you should expect before you start the big day in dental school. I want you to forgive me in advance because the first item on the list is kind of pessimistic. It's a little bit negative, and I just hope that each of you take it as advice that you can use to work through, and instead of just clicking off because I'm super negative. Without further ado, I will go ahead and get right into the list. The very first thing is that yes, dental school is as hard as everyone says it is. So let me explain what I mean by this. Before you start dental school, there's a lot of people that you're going to hear talk about it. If you go anywhere online, you're gonna see tons of information out there about people's experiences, good and bad. You're gonna talk to people that you know that have done it, maybe a parent, maybe a sibling, maybe a good friend. And the general consensus is that dental school is a very difficult experience for a lot of reasons. It's difficult mentally, physically, and psychologically, and it's going to challenge you in many ways that you haven't been challenged before. And when people describe dental school, they often talk about the many days and days that stack up on top of each other where you're really doing nothing but studying, and I can confirm after 3 months that this is very true and very accurate. But let me explain why this isn't the end of the world. If you're in this position to be in dental school, you've been accepted, you're starting, you're going to be accepted, you've likely taken the DAT. If you've been accepted, you have taken the DAT. And the DAT, the dental admissions test, is a grueling challenge for any undergraduate student. It is months of studying, and it requires a lot of dedication and motivation to get through it. And to get a good score, you're going to be putting yourself in difficult situations when it comes to studying. So if you've been through the DAT experience, I promise you, you're set up more than you think to go to dental school and to deal with the study challenges that exist within dental school. All of this is to say that every student who's accepted into dental school can do the work. And this is the reason why there are so many applicants to dental school, and yet the dental classes are as small as they are. Each student that's accepted into dental school is accepted there for a reason, and each person is capable of doing the work. It just takes dedication. So it's as hard as people say it is, but honestly, I think that's a good thing. It's quite the challenge, but it's very rewarding because for the first time in your life, you're truly doing something or studying something that you are going to use for the rest of your life. And that's extremely rewarding. As someone who spent a lot of time in undergrad doing things that wouldn't impact my daily life in 5, 10, 15 years, it was a bit frustrating at times. And now that I'm finally here studying dentistry, it's very rewarding, and as hard as it gets, it's all worth it. So point number 2 is kind of similar to the last point, but a little bit more specific. And that has to do with the information that is tested on in dental school. So I am a D1 at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center in Memphis, and I can speak, of course, for my school and how we do things. I certainly can't speak for every dental school in the United States or in the world, but I do have some experience with what we do. And that has to do with the content that we're tested over. I have learned in my 3 months and 3 major exams that truly everything that's put onto a PowerPoint and given to you as a dental student is fair game for a test. So this can be very difficult because sometimes there are minor bits and pieces of information that are found on slides, that we wouldn't necessarily spend a lot of time on, and that'll be a question on the exam. And for us, we compact all of our classes into what we call PAR exams. And so we basically have a few questions for each class on the same exam. And when you have 5 questions for a histology lecture that is 100 slides long, that one minor little detail that's on slide 34, that's going to be the question. And even if you knew the general topic of what was being discussed, you could easily get the question wrong because you didn't pick up on that detail. And this is something that I've been having to combat and work with, and it's caused me to change my study methods because before I was trying to understand the big topics and really get a grasp of all the material. But now I'm understanding that some of the niche bits of information are actually really important. And so I've decided to start making Anki flashcards with everything on them so that I can kind of hone in on like the little details and just be much more prepared for the types of questions that they're gonna ask. And so in a broader sense, what dental school is going to ask you to do as a student is to adapt and to learn what's working for you and what's not working for you. It's been 3 months and I have changed my study methods at least 3 to 4 times to kind of adapt to what's being thrown at me and to try to figure out what's going to be best and what's going to allow me to perform the best on the tests. So point number 3 of the things that you need to know before you start dental school is a little bit of some encouragement. Your hand skills will improve with time. As first year dental students, at least at Tennessee, I think this happens pretty much everywhere, we start with 2 lab courses where we're actually using our hands. The first of these courses is called dental morphology, and that's basically a course where we learn everything about each and every tooth that erupts into the oral cavity. So both the permanent dentition, which is what we as adults all have, and then the primary dentition, which is your baby teeth, we learn every single anatomical landmark on every single tooth. And from far away, that kind of sounds a bit daunting, and it really is. There's a lot of information that you have to learn, but it's very doable, especially broken down the way they break it down here. But along with dental morphology is dental morphology lab, and in that class, we are waxing up each and every tooth. And at very first, when I started doing this, I was extremely frustrated because I just simply could not get the wax to do what I wanted. And it was like the hardest thing ever, and I was just very, very upset and frustrated. Similarly, in our other lab course, which is operative dentistry, I struggled a lot in the beginning with some of the basic hand skills. In operative dentistry, we are learning how to cut cavity preparations in teeth that have been infected with caries. And so you're working with a high-speed handpiece for the first time, and it's quite difficult. It's a lot different than really anything that you've ever done. So at first, especially when I was working in the maxillary arch in indirect vision, I was struggling a lot with cutting some of these cavity preparations, and I got very frustrated at first. And I think if I could give you a little bit of advice just right now, and I'm still very early on in dental school, but I will say that your hand skills improve with time, and you just have to persevere and keep working at them, and they will get better. Some people in the class, it's just gonna happen every year, but some people are just gifted, and immediately they're gonna pick up a handpiece, and they're gonna be able to cut a perfect preparation, a perfect class 1. Others might pick up some waxing instruments and build a beautiful number 8 immediately. And that's just gonna be the way it is. Other people struggle a lot, and they really have to work at it every day, every week to try to get better at some of these things. But at the end of the day, by the end of all these 4 years, each and every one of us will be trained in the right ways to succeed in dentistry, and your hand skills will be fine. So do not get too frustrated. The 4th thing on the list of things that you should know before you start dental school is something that I think is extremely important, and that is you cannot neglect diet and exercise. It's very easy to do when you have a week where you're studying every single day, all day long, and you basically are not doing anything in your life other than studying. It's very easy to neglect a correct diet and exercise. Fortunately for me, I spent the time that I had in the months leading up to dental school to establish a good diet and good exercise habits. But really, I think it's extremely important to make sure you're eating right and you're exercising as much as possible while you're in dental school. The reason for this is complicated, but honestly, you cannot perform in the classroom unless your body is in the best shape possible. And I don't mean that you need to be an NFL football player to be smart. That's certainly not the case. But what I mean is your diet and your exercise regimens should support how you study and how you learn. And I'm gonna get into this a lot more. I plan to make a video about a book that really changed my life when it comes to this entire topic. But ultimately, I think finding the best way to eat healthy, and I can also talk about that, and also to establish a good exercise regimen, whether it's aerobic, like running or cycling, or something, a little bit more stationary like lifting weights. Just establishing an outlet for yourself to both get physically stronger and healthier, and also to separate yourself from the difficulties of dental school. I think it's extremely important and actually imperative that everybody figures out what's gonna work for them in this realm. So we've made it to the last point of the video, but before I give that to y'all, I wanna just thank each and every one of you for watching and for being here. If you like what you've seen in the video and you want to see more in the future, consider hitting the subscribe button, and I will do my very best to make that happen. Okay, so the 5th point, the 5th thing that I think is really important for you to know before you start dental school is that your classmates are your teammates and your upperclassmen are built-in mentors. It's very easy in the first year of dental school to get caught up in the competitive aspects of your class. And what I mean by that is everybody's new to this and everybody has a lot of aspirations for their futures in dentistry. And when it comes to specializing, your position in the class is very important. And so a lot of times people tend to compete and things tend to get ugly quickly. But the point is, I think your class is an incredible outlet for you. And I think that each and every one of you should function as a teammate, because that's really what it is. I know that my class, by experience, has been incredible, and it's been like a big team. There have been multiple points where it's actually felt like us versus the teachers, in the sense that we'll have difficult questions on exams that the class doesn't perform so well in, and we've been able to band together as a class behind one person and go to the teachers with our concerns. So really it feels like everyone in your class is your teammate, and you have this built-in support system of people who are going through the same things, struggling with the same topics, the same concepts. And it's just very important that you understand that relationship is extremely important. And then the other part of this topic, or this point, was that the upperclassmen in your dental school are very important to you as well. And the reason that I say this is because they, more than anybody, know what it's like to be in your very shoes. I think it's extremely important that as a first year dental student, you reach out and you try to get involved in some of the clubs and organizations on your campus so that you can meet some of the older folks at your school. Like I said, they really know and understand what you're going through, and they're gonna be a great help to you as you progress in the future in school. You should view your dental school as a support system and as a sort of a safety net, not as competition or people that are out to get you or anything negative like that. And this is, of course, experience-based. Some people might not have a great experience in dental school. So far I have. The situation's been weird for me and for my class because we started dental school during the pandemic, and so meeting people has been a lot slower than it otherwise would have been. But there's a great sense of community at my school, and I hope that everybody who is going to dental school or watching this video really relies on the people around them for support and success, because it's just extremely important. We can't do this thing alone. So with that, guys, that's 5 points or 5 things that I think are really important to understand about dental school before you start. Of course, these are my own experience, and I'm not super far into this thing, so things may change for me as I progress into dental school, but I think these are some foundational things that really, if you consider and you take to heart, they might help you in preparation for starting dental school. I appreciate every single one of you for watching this video. If I helped even one of you, I accomplished my goal. And if you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I will try to get back to filming videos. It's been weird. It's been a strange couple of months, but I'm here in Memphis. I am in dental school, and I hope that I can bring some content to you in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.